Okay,
Welcome
go for
to
it.
episode 2 of the Chris and Alex show. I think we
Yo,
started off with a bang, right?
we did.
Yeah.
Bang.
Bang. Did you get any good feedback? I thought a few people commented, and I think we have about 10 subscribers now. So
Yeah, I think probably the 8 people that subscribed other than us. Thank you for
oh,
subscribing. We really appreciate that so much. And how many reviews do we have? Like 25? Thank you to the 23 of you who watched our video. I really do
it-
appreciate that.
look, if we learned anything about being software developers, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So
Very true. And by the way, you have a different background this time, and I do too. Why do you have a
yes.
different background? You moved your bedroom into your office, or
No, I moved out of my old room and I went into my other roommate's room that left. So I
ah,
got the bigger room now. So nice.
nice.
Thanks
Oh,
for
do you need a roommate?
noticing. Thanks for
I know
noticing.
that is actually color for once. It's really nice.
Yeah, trying to get that aesthetic for the YouTube game and whatnot. So
Yeah, I mean, you like my background. It's all dark in the background, simple this time. So we switched it up.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm in Portland right now too. So I'm in Portland for work. I got really sick yesterday.
Hmm.
I have to talk about this. When I got sick yesterday, it was really scary. I thought I had COVID. I got tested. I don't. But like, do you know how that feeling you get after you're taking sleeping pills, or after you wake up in the morning and you still feel groggy? I felt that
Hmm.
the whole day. I felt like I was fighting off taking sleeping pills the whole day. It was kind of
Oh
scary.
no.
It's kind of scary, and I
Uh,
still feel that
How do
now.
you?
But I'm here making content.
Yeah, I mean that's dedication. I appreciate that. Oh
Yeah,
man, we had such a difficult time trying to schedule stuff, but with an actual guest actually. But you know what? We'll get that
it's
system
okay. We
going.
don't
I
need
think we'll
guests. We
get it.
got we got each other. We got the two Asians in the house. But
The two
yeah,
Asians in tech taking over.
yeah, it's two Asians in tech taking over. But what were we talking about today?
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about when is it time for you to leave your software developer job. And I think
Mm.
that's kind of relatable right now, isn't it, Chris?
It is, yeah, because if you did not watch my last stream on Twitch, I actually did give my 2 weeks notice. How many days ago? 5 days ago now, and it's so
Wow.
weird because I'm at an onsite. Me and my entire team, we traveled to Portland. We're all hanging out, and I told one person, "Yeah, I know we're on onsite planning for the next 2 or 3 quarters. Letting you know I'm leaving. So any input I give doesn't matter anymore." So, and the whole time, every time we hang out, yeah. So there's all of us. We're gonna do this at AWS this next couple months, and
Hmm.
this betrayer, Chris, will go to another company, so we don't need to worry about him anymore. So my nickname is the betrayer now. The betrayer.
Probably your boss is like, stop talking about all of our trademark secrets. We don't want
Yeah,
Chris to know.
don't tell anyone the stocks you're getting. Don't tell them what they're paying you. Just be quiet, Chris. All right, I'll stop. I'll stop. But
Dang.
it's
But I
cool.
mean,
It's cool.
it's crazy though. It's a pretty big decision. And
It's
how
a
did
scary
you,
decision.
yeah, how did
It,
you, like, what was your thought process behind it?
I'm not gonna lie. I got the job offer, and they gave me, it's a startup, so you get paid less. I'm joining a startup. You will always get paid less in a startup, but the stocks and the potential is there. And so, for me, to be honest, your question was what made me make that decision.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about both, like what made you make the final decision, but what I was trying to
Mm,
ask originally was more related to why did you start looking? Like what was the
mm,
evolution from there to
yeah.
now? Yeah.
When I started waking up, I wasn't happy. I wasn't looking forward to work anymore.
Mm.
Right when I woke up in the morning, it's like, dang it, here's another day. Right. Oh, the job change, which is expected. I'm in DevRel, so the role is changing a lot, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. At least at this current company, I love the team. The team's amazing, and it's not my boss's fault necessarily as well. It's just the goals of the company change, and so the culture and the things that we need to do to make sure we still have a job change too. And so when all these things started happening, for example, I joined my company because I thought I would mainly focus on making YouTube videos and streaming, and that's what was pitched to me, right? And then 6 months down the line, it's no longer that. It actually doesn't matter how many YouTube videos you upload, how big your following is, or how much you grew it, and how much bigger your brand is. Because the bigger our brand is, the more people that know about that current company I'm about to leave. And
Hmm.
so that was the goal before, and then all that changed pretty
Yeah.
fast. And
Yeah.
then there was one week where I worked about 70 hours. Then
Hmm.
from a Monday to Wednesday, I worked about 32 hours in 3 days. Right. So I worked a lot the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I just, the whole time while I was working overtime, that we don't get paid for, I just started thinking I'm not happy. It's time for me to leave. But you know what's
Yeah.
crazy though? That when I started applying to jobs, I started texting you, and I texted you, and I started looking for
Yeah.
jobs. So I guess we are friends. We're not just internet friends.
We're definitely texting more often than usual.
We really are. We really are. I text you more than Coding Phase now. Wow. Don't tell Coding Phases. But
make sure he watches
yeah.
this episode.
Oh gosh, yeah, go for it, Joe. But yeah, I started applying, and I got job interviews everywhere, from Roblox, Sendbird, to with Google, with all these companies, a bunch of startups that have a lot of potential. And so one thing I noticed too, actually, is that wow, a lot of companies do want me. And there was this one startup, the VP, I can't say who anymore, but there's someone in Twitter that's up there. They're head of something in Twitter. I was supposed to interview with them because they're investing in this startup that has a lot of potential too. And so there's this company that was really sad when I rejected their offer. It's a 10-person team, so they would have given me a lot of equity, but nah, I'd rather join this other company I'm joining in 2 weeks.
Dude, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's scary. My job's so secure here, and I'm going to get promoted to senior engineer, and I'll get paid like, what, $50K more than what I'm earning now. And so I'm leaving all of that behind to join a startup. That's insane.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd ever do that. That's crazy.
Yeah. I think most people, like, they will always kind of go through some kind of change within a company, right? Because as a company grows, as a company evolves, there's going to be different rules and different expectations. Some people would say, oh, wow, Chris, like, how come you're not, like, sucking it up, like, persevering through the team and, like, kind of just going with the changing times? Like, but at the same time, if you know, right? Like, this isn't what I want to do, and then I need to, like, move on from it. About how much time were you thinking about looking for another role?
I knew I was going to get an offer. It's not that I'm prideful or anything like that. I mean, everyone's prideful, right? Everyone has pride. But I knew I was going to get an offer. And I knew I was going to get either a better offer, if not at least what I'm earning now at a startup, right?
Right.
And actually, talking about what you talked about, I went to my uncle for advice, and he was grilling me so hard. He was like, Chris, you're just like all the millennials out there. He's in his 50s, I think, or almost 60 now. You're just like all the other millennials out there. I'm like, what are you talking about? You've been at your job for 10 months and you're leaving. I'm like, yeah, but I have a potential to make $7 million more. You're lazy. I'm like, what? And he told me, Chris, people in my time, my age, we don't leave a company until we've actually helped the company do better. And I'm like, no, that's awesome. That's a good goal to have. But we live in different times now, and I have different opportunities than what you had back in the day, right? So we can get a job almost anywhere. I mean, you work at Amazon now, right? So if you needed to, you can get a job anywhere, right? So the opportunities are there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how things have changed, where a long time ago you got a lot more respect when you stayed at a company for 5-10 years.
Yeah, but not anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know what that right number is or what that right special number. I don't think there really is. It's just deciding internally within yourself and saying, hey, this is not what I want to do. This is not what I signed up for. Yes, could I try to persevere and change what I do on my day-to-day to help the team out? Or like, do I want to pursue something that I actually want to do, right? So I think that's really important to think about. And I commend you for that, because some people, they spend way too long thinking about it, and eventually they just start hating the people they work with. They hating their boss. They hate everything about that company. And then you just kind of leave on a sour note,
It is tough. Like, we went crabbing all day from, like, we met at 8 a.m. We didn't come back until 12 a.m. And then that's when they got really sick. But we were crabbing all day. And my boss is doing this on purpose, but he's being genuine too. Like, all right, so the goal is in November. I want us to have an on-site in Hawaii. All right. And early next year, we're all going to travel to Japan, and then hopefully Australia if they open up for another on-site there. I'm like, come on, you mean, like, and he means it though. He means it.
Yeah.
But he's also saying it again to tell me, or to, I'm not staying, but just saying all these things, and then we'll go to New York, or we'll go to RubyCon, who's here. That's here. We're going to another event in Miami. All this traveling for free. That's paid for by the company, and all the food. 100% of your food is paid for when you travel, right? And then when I heard those thoughts, I'm not gonna lie, man. The whole time I started thinking, oh, can I retract my 2-week notice? Can I do that? Like, hey, can you just match my new salary at the other company, right? But like all these thoughts started coming in, but when I went home and I woke up the next day, I just told myself, "Nah, you gave it 2 weeks for notice."
Yeah, yeah. Hey, if your boss is watching this, if he's looking for an Amazon developer, that's potential upgrade that will go to New York and Hawaii and all these places for
Wow!
free. Let me, you know what? This is my bid right here. No, I'm just trolling.
Oh my
I'm happy
gosh!
where I'm at.
You're so funny. Nah, for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Nah, I mean, you have a good job. What's interesting? I was looking at someone. I forgot Chris something, not Chris Hawks. But
Chris
this other
Sean.
person, I think his name is Chris, or I don't remember. But I didn't realize he just got a job at Amazon too as a front end engineer level 2. Amazon.
Ooh,
I did a collab with him a while ago. I forgot who it was. He's the guy that always he smokes. Yes, it's not smokes, but he always has this like smoke machine that comes out of nowhere. I don't know. He has quite a few subscribers, but works at Amazon too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think for me, if probably my one biggest regret is staying at my last company as long as I have,
5 years, right?
Yeah, 5 years, and it was quite a journey. I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot from
Yeah.
what a startup has to do to go from like Series A to Series B and Series B to Series
Hmm.
C. So when you're one of the few developers
Wait,
that are
when did you join
there,
Series what?
A. So
Wow. And you
yeah,
left at Series C?
that's pretty early at a company.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that'll be another story because actually that company kind of did me kind of dirty. Yeah,
Oh.
but
All right.
that will
Next
be something
episode.
that we could talk about maybe in the future if everything goes
No,
well.
no. Actually, I'm curious because I'm joining a
But yeah,
startup
I mean that's
now.
kind of one regret that I have is like not being able to just make that decision and move on. Like I tried to like persevere and try to work
Mm,
through just like the road bumps along the way, but after getting like passed up on promotions, not getting paid what I deserved, and I don't know, just even getting a job at Amazon, it just felt like kind of the stamp of approval or stamp of confidence that hey,
mm.
you deserve to get paid this much more, or you deserve to get that
Yeah.
respect as a software developer. That at my company they were just creating these guardrails for me to not succeed. And when that
Really?
happens, yeah, when that happens, I've just go,
Ooh.
okay, well, maybe it's just time to move on because obviously I'm not in an environment where I'm appreciated, right? So
Yeah.
kind of different circumstances between you because it sounds like at least at New Relic you everything in terms of the team wide you're doing well. It just maybe not quite
Well,
the work day to
I'll
day
tell you
was
this. And
yeah.
my boss says this. He said this quite a bit while we're here in Portland. Yeah, Chris, I'm really happy that you're like dropping the mic on your way out because I worked on this technical blog post. That's really, I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good technical blog post, not just because I wrote it, but it's because I'm amazing. But aside from that,
Hmm.
no, but it's really good, and it's nice to like.
We gotta
The
clip
week
that.
I'm leaving is the week. Oh no, don't clip that. The week I'm leaving is the week that blog post gets released with the company, right? And so
Hmm.
to leave on that note is really good. But
Yeah.
one thing I want to share is that I just felt like I wasn't contributing enough
Mm.
at this company, and I would say it's because I'm not a skilled writer.
Yeah.
I can talk, but I hire copywriters for a reason to
Yeah.
to convert my videos into blog posts because I suck at writing and I just don't enjoy writing as much as I thought I would. And so this new position I'm joining, I get to focus fully on YouTube and streaming, which is really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we talked about this in the first episode of what defines a senior developer or what is
Mm.
a junior developer. And I think one thing I mentioned that I didn't mention actually is that what I noticed with senior developers is that they're pretty good at writing. And in some regards, they're really good
Mm.
at writing technical docs. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we're
Oh.
not senior because I think I'm not
Oh.
the best writer
Oh.
either.
Okay.
But
Okay. Okay.
the way they're able to write is very unique. Like I could explain things very well, but I noticed that when you're in these like bigger meetings, maybe you do need to have a little bit more like practice writing technical blogs. And I
Hmm.
know it probably sucked for you to write those technical blogs, but I bet you probably learned a lot from it too, right?
Yeah. No. All right. So if I stayed, my manager was gonna hire someone to give me have one-on-one sessions with to literally just train me how to get good at writing technical blog
Mm-hmm.
posts.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would have been valuable because in DevRel, one of the main parts of a job is writing.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here talking about this, but yeah, they were gonna get me someone to really teach me how to be good at technical writing,
Yeah.
and they would have made me good at it, right? And so, but at the end of the day, yeah, that's nice, but I wouldn't have been happy. To be
Right,
honest, in
right.
5 or 10 years, I won't work anymore. So like, I just felt like it was a waste of time for me.
Yeah, yeah. And like no slight on you or anything like that, but I just noticed that with DevRel we gotta. It's hard. It's different for every company, right? Because it's so new. So
Yeah,
there is this expectation that you should have as someone that's joining, that you might be doing tutorials, or you might be doing technical blogs, or you might be doing streaming. Like I think at
yeah,
Amazon, the DevRels there, they do a lot of tutorials from what I understand, and it's like all like AWS based stuff. So it's like
yeah.
very different from what I could tell. Yeah.
Yeah, every company is very different, right? So, I mean, I do like writing. I just know it's my biggest weakness. I'll tell you this: a lot of people are scared of talking in front of camera. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very comfortable in front of camera. I can go in front
Mm-hmm.
of a crowd of 50,000 people, hundred
Yeah.
thousand people. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
writing, nah,
Yeah.
that's my biggest weakness. Yeah, for sure.
I challenge you and I'd encourage you to keep going at it because
Hmm.
I think it can only help you, not make it worse. You know what I mean? But I know
Yeah,
you're super busy making millions of dollars elsewhere, so it's just like, do you really want
millions.
to hundreds of thousands of dollars elsewhere? So at the same time, do you want to
Oh
spend time
gosh.
doing that? But no, that makes sense. And man, that's crazy. Like, so when do you ever when you actually apply to jobs, was it just more of a passive way of looking, or did you go like, I want to find another
Mm.
role right now,
That
kind of
is a
like how
good
you did on
point.
Twitter?
So when me and my team went to San Francisco, that's when
Hmm.
I started actually actively looking. So I
Hmm.
started interviewing with a bunch of companies in AI because I was really into AI. But I was just passively looking, passively, just that's a cool job. I'll apply to that. We'll see
Hmm.
how that goes. But when I started working 70 hours a week, and then one day I worked, from 9 a.m. No, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the next day I worked another 12 hours. When that happened, I just told myself, no, this is it. And that's when I started applying like crazy. Yeah. So in the last 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
I technically got a new job in 1 week, but they couldn't give me the offer until the second week because of just scheduling and stuff. But yeah, so I technically got a job after a week of applying, but got the
Yeah.
official offer letter in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think that those 70 hours of working was something that was not normal, or would it be something that you just have to kind of pass through, or is it
Hmm.
something that could have been very day to day typical thing that you'll be doing?
It's not a day-to-day typical thing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They knew
Mm-hmm.
the thing is they assigned me a task to work for technology I have
Mm-hmm.
zero experience with.
Mm-hmm.
So I never worked with Jamstack, had to learn it. What the heck was a Jamstack? Then write a blog post on the Jamstack, right? But not just that, try to integrate our application at that company with the Jamstack and how to measure the performance of the application, etc.
Yeah.
So I had to do all these different things. And the thing is, like, the stress that was put on me was intense
Yeah.
because how well I performed will determine if this team is even needed at that company. So
Yeah.
the whole team was riding my back on this hope, and I needed to perform because if I didn't, my entire Devil team would look bad. And so all that pressure, on top of having to learn something that should have never been done, I mean, they should have given it to our principal engineer, which would
Mm-hmm.
have gotten it done in 1 day. To be honest, maybe 2 days, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that was it. That was it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting to go through that experience. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure you learned a lot, but maybe in more ideal circumstances, if you worked with the principal engineer to write it out, that could have been the best way.
Yeah,
But it is
yeah.
what
No,
it is.
I
Yeah.
do wish that I had more time here. It was someone else's job actually, and then they
Mm-hmm.
just said they can't write it 2 or 3 days before it was due.
Mm-hmm.
So so, but my principal engineers were helping a lot though, right?
Yeah.
They were worried that maybe I didn't get enough help or guidance on how to write this, etc. And so, what happened was on a day off, Memorial Day, when everyone had that day off, my boss and I we just worked from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. getting this thing done to do
Yeah.
it the right way. And yeah, I learned a lot though. Learned a lot.
Yeah. So now that you're moving on to this next company that we can't talk about, what do you think that you can carry on over to from your past company to now?
Mm. Jeez, is this an interview? Hold on, are you interviewing me for this next job?
You already got the job. I'm just
Oh, yeah, I
curious
did. I did.
I'm just curious what one DevRel can do
Mm,
to another company, right? Because not a lot of DevRels have long tenures as DevRels, right? So
it's very
like
true.
this is
Very
actually
true.
from our like private conversations, I think you said this is like a pretty new team that's forming, right?
It is a new team, and that's what I'm most excited about. Right.
Hmm.
So it's a team of right now, including the head of DevRel at that company, now a team of four. And I think we're interviewing for like four more positions or something. One thing that I will bring is just from what I learned from my last job or my current job, still here,
Mm.
is really taking initiative on everything. Because if you don't take
Mhm.
initiative, especially in DevRel, nothing will get done. And not even just that, I'm the type of person also where I don't like to show off my work.
Mm.
When I do something really well, I don't care if people know about it or not at the company. But I mean,
Mm.
I learned that from doing YouTube. I didn't care if people know about my YouTube channel. I didn't care if people know about how successful I am. But one thing I learned is that in a company, a big corporate company or not, what's really important is that you let your boss and everyone know the work you're doing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how important that was because there was a time when people would wonder what the heck is Chris doing. Little did they know I'm writing 3 blog posts a week, 3 podcasts a week, 2 YouTube videos a week. Like, I'm doing all this work, but I don't project that to the whole team. And so my goal is to make sure that this next team I join is that we all get in the same mindset together and how we need to know how do we know that we're producing work and no one needs to feel like they're feeling left behind or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think a lot of times we think that the work will speak for itself, but
It doesn't.
nah, your boss is
Especially in a
busy,
startup
so
environment. Oh my
yeah.
gosh! Especially in a startup environment, you have to show off your work.
Hmm.
You have to the statistics, everything. So I'm nervous, man, because my job was so secure,
Yeah.
and to go to a startup where you don't know what the future is scary. It's scary. I mean, I could get a job in a couple of weeks if I needed to, but just that thought though is just scary to think about.
I think you'll be fine. I mean, if anything, you're getting more experience for interviews, and people know who you are and what you've done, and you've put in like all of the upfront work of gaining some type of reputation, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
some kind.
I
Yeah,
think that'll be fine.
for sure, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I have a question. So,
Shoot.
what is it that made you leave the last job before joining Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a myriad of stuff, but I think it was because I was working, like, that I was working at a startup, and with a startup, there's a lot of growing pains. And when I
Mhm.
joined my company, I think there was about 15 people,
Yeah.
and then it blew up to like 200 within 5 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, just a lot of growing pains. Some people that were software developers turned into managers that technically weren't qualified to be managers, but they
Oh
became
shoot.
managers
Sounds like a
because,
startup.
yeah, it sounds like a typical startup. And I don't know, I kind of followed the same mantra as you did, where I said, hey, let my work speak for itself, or I would mostly focus on my role as an individual contributor. But then I started noticing that as the company got bigger, like these quote unquote managers were also trying to make like technical decisions, even though
Mhm.
they weren't the most technically sound people.
Oh shoot.
So
Yeah.
it was just a lot of like office politics kind of thing, and it was a little bittersweet because, to be honest, I learned so much there, and I can't take it
Mhm.
back. It got me to where I am at Amazon, right? But
Yeah.
in terms of just the politics and just growing pains of going from 15 to 60 to 100 and 100 to 200, like it was just really hard to feel as important or feel as respected at a company, because
Mm.
it is what it is, right? Company gets big. How are you gonna, if you don't have the right infrastructure, then how are you going to know um, what to do with your employees, right? So
What were you
yeah,
unhappy with that made like what like, so you left that company, but what was it that made you the least happy?
least happy. I think I just lost a little. I think it was a mixture of uh, maybe respect. I think the respect was gone, and that was kind of coming
Respect
from
for you?
both ways in some regards.
Mm.
And from that point of view, I just knew that it was time. And to be completely frank, again, I was scared to leave, right? When you're at a
Mm.
company for 5 years, you
And you
start
start with that
questioning.
number 16.
Yeah, and you start questioning a little bit, like, am I even good enough to go to a different company? And when I
Mm.
was interviewing for places, I was actually failing a lot of interviews. because I had an interview for 5 years, right?
Wow.
So my imposter syndrome was pretty high. And whenever you go through interviews as an experienced developer, yeah, you get a lot more interviews, but they're a lot more pickier about who they hire. They want you
Mhm.
to know your stuff. There's less leeway for mistakes during the technical interviews, and you kind of have to be on top of your game. So I definitely was rusty, and I was even talking to some of my old coworkers that left as well, and they were also rusty because everyone got comfortable
Mm.
in some regards,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
just yeah, I kind of lucked out in a sense that Amazon was my last interview, and I went through all the failed
Wow.
interviews first, and then I learned from that to
Of
actually
course that
study and work
happens.
hard. Yeah, so it kind of saved the best for last
Wow.
mentality. It worked out, yeah. But
Wow.
when you know, right? And it is what it is. I hope the best for that company as well. But yeah, it wasn't leaving on the most pleasant terms, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I just knew it was time to
What
leave.
do you mean
Yeah.
not the most pleasant terms? Is it because they didn't want you to leave?
I don't think they cared at that point, but there was one point
Wow.
like 2.5, 3 years ago. Like I had an offer uh, that wanted to hire me, and I actually just accepted the counter offer from my company because they really, really showed that they wanted me at the company, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a mixture of just not feeling a little appreciated at the same time. Like maybe, what if you have a family and you have 2 kids and then all of a sudden you have 4 kids? Like the
It's
priority just
harder.
so right? So
It's
I
about
get it. And
yeah.
I can't imagine ever being like a CEO of that many employees. So yeah, it
Jeez.
was a mixture of those things that made me want to leave. But ultimately, I think I knew what my value was, and I didn't see or feel that at the company. So when I got my role at Amazon, I was like, oh wow, I can make like $80,000 more or $100,000 more than what I was making
Yeah.
before. It's like shit, wow, like that's unimaginable. Because I know
That's the truth. Yeah.
sometimes when you go during these reviews and they say like Alex or Chris, like we can't pay you that much, right? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like you're not producing that level of output, or like you're not that skilled enough.
Yeah.
Like maybe they say it in a nicer way, but that's basically saying that you're not worth that much, right?
Mm.
And then that's when you could just kind of prove them wrong and say like, hey, look, this is who I am, and I know
Yeah.
my worth. So um I mean, I think our experiences are a little bit different in a sense that, and the same, right? Like maybe it's similar in a sense that we didn't start enjoying what we were doing at our
Hmm.
company, and so we decided to move on. And then, in some regards, like you still like the people. I like the people there too, most of them, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me too, when I was looking for a new job, I mean, this job, it on base salary wise, they are paying me more than my last job.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to find a company that was willing to pay me more than what I'm earning, and I'm already earning a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I interviewed at other companies were like, I don't know if we could pay you more than what you're earning at that job because, Chris, you're at the top, you're up there in regards to how much DevRels are paid. And
Yeah.
so, right, and that made me think maybe I'll never find another company that's willing to pay me this much or more. And I found that company, and so that's such a
Yeah.
satisfying feeling when
Yeah.
you're meeting with the chief operating officer of a company. And by the way, in this new job, they gave me a presentation deck. It wasn't just here's your offer letter. It's here's this presentation. Let's present to you why you should join the company. I'm like, what? I've never received that before. I feel
Right.
like I was interviewing for new teams in the NBA
Right.
when they brought out that presentation deck. That was unheard of for me. I never thought that company would ever do that for just to get take a software engineer from another company. So that was a
Yeah.
really satisfying feeling valued.
In what scenario would you take less money? Like, what would they
Uh,
have to do
oh,
to
I
pitch
will
you
tell
and
you
be like,
this. I technically am making less money
sorry, can
because
you repeat that?
I am taking less money. And what I mean by
Mm-hmm.
this aspect is I was going to be promoted to senior engineer,
I see.
and I was going to make a lot more
More.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, $30,000 to $50,000 more, right? 50 maybe $50,000 more than what I'm earning now. And also I was going to get promoted. So by me taking this job, by the way, I'm not getting the stocks I was supposed to vest as well in February. So I'm taking less money. But the reason I still took the job, I think it was because of the potential. like when you see that Microsoft is investing in a particular company, that's a really good sign.
Hmm.
Yeah, when you see a company like Microsoft leading the Series B, right, and now they're on Series C now, I feel like that's a really good sign. But I mean, you have experience on this as well as seeing these different things. But I felt like that was a good sign. And at the same rate, I live really below my means, so I'm not really taking much of a loss compared to someone who makes, let's say, $150,000 a year, but they make 150K a year. I live
Hmm.
like I make $70,000 a year,
Yeah.
right, or $60,000 a year, even though I make two or three times more than that.
Right. Right.
So I have it's not that hard of a decision for me.
Right. So at a certain point, maybe the number is not as important as we kind of
Hmm.
describe it as, right? Like you would, in some regards, you're saying you're taking maybe a $30,000 to $50,000 pay cut, but it's about at what point is your kind of threshold for saying, yeah, this is fine, and maybe
Yeah,
there's more potential down the line to making a lot more through stock options or whatever.
no, 100%. No,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So my question then is like, what? When do you know? My question is, when do you know that you're? When did you know you were unhappy to the point that you just left? Like, how do you know? Because I knew I was unhappy after six
Yeah.
months here, and I've been here for 10 months or
That's
7 months
crazy.
here.
6 months out of 10 months.
Yeah.
You would say majority of the
Well,
time you were unhappy.
one person left before me. Everyone thought I
Mm-hmm.
would leave first. Actually, everyone
Mm-hmm.
thought I would leave first. Someone else left
Mm-hmm.
before me. Right. Then I finally left. So another person transferred to another team. Right. So yeah, like how do you know when? How do you know when you were just unhappy?
I'm probably the bad person to ask about this, considering I stayed at my company for 5 years. um,
Even when
and
you weren't happy.
even when I wasn't, yeah, very happy because
Wow.
I try to persevere through it, and that's why I said I
You're
commended you
making me look
for
so
just
bad right now.
no. I
Oh
mean,
god.
that's why I praised you for doing what you did, and in some regards, because yeah, there is some respect for being able to like go through the mud with your company and getting over that hill, but at the same time, when it feels like people are just kind of using your shoulders to get higher and higher or like just taking advantage
Yeah.
of you, that's when I
Yeah.
realized that I kind of needed to move on from it, because
For sure.
there's a lack, maybe a lack of appreciation. That's when you know that you're no longer like welcomed at your company, or you notice that the new people that are coming in, they're getting a lot more say with technical decisions, even though they have no experience whatsoever. There's a lot of different variables
Mhm.
that came into play. Yeah, and that's one thing that I noticed too. It's a lot of times like new developers that join startups at like maybe kind of at the Series C level, they look at your old
Mhm.
code and they say, "Oh my god, like why did you guys do it this way? Like why would you guys do this?" Like they all
Yeah.
they do is critique, right? But they don't understand the
You were a
level
16
of
person team
stress.
before.
Yeah, the level of stress it took to get to that level, right? Or to get to that
Yeah.
point, right? And sometimes people aren't appreciative of the people that got you there, and they think
Yeah.
that I'm just gonna have this savior complex. So a lot of different politics within the dev team and whatnot is. I just wanted to get out of it. Maybe just start fresh and
Mhm.
take what I learned from the startup. And I learned a lot about myself too, about how to treat people
What did
with
you learn?
respect.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Specifically, I thought the code spoke for itself, and you
Mhm.
could kind of act however you feel like as long as you produce good code.
Yeah.
But I realized when you stay at a company for 5 years, you need people to enjoy your company, or like people to be able to work with, right? Because you're going to involve having conversations and planning and whatnot. And even though I came to that realization, I think my reputation at the last company, in some regards, like some people just had this old thought about how I act, and you know who I am. We've chatted, and I'm pretty flexible and
Yeah.
all
You
that.
you
But
are so egotistical.
yeah, exactly right.
I'm just joking. Just joking.
But I think people's perception of you will always like stay the same, and I'm sure you've
Mhm.
had like those haters who will always hate you no matter what you do, right?
Yep.
So, um,
Yeah.
I think from that point of view, that I just learned that I can't satisfy everybody, and maybe the people at the last company was just not jiving with me, and it only took me 5 years to realize that, and then now I'm here.
For sure.
Yeah.
That takes courage, and wow, 5 years is a long time. I think the
Right.
longest I stayed at a company was 2 years.
Was that the entrepreneur?
Yeah, so my first junior developer job stayed there for 2 years. Next job, entrepreneur, but it's because they laid me off. And
Yeah.
I swear I would have stayed there for maybe 5 years or so
Were you
because
happy at entrepreneur
I
minus
loved it.
them
Other than the
letting you go?
pay,
Yeah.
yeah, them letting me go, I was happy. I liked my coworkers. We got along. That team was amazing, right? Despite the fact that we're all underpaid because it's a smaller
Hmm.
company, right? So they can only
Hmm.
afford so much. Yeah, but if they never let me go, I would still be working there making 70K a year,
Did you
and
ever
I
feel
make
like you were getting
way more than
underpaid
that now.
though?
Oh, everyone did. Everyone talked
I
about it.
see.
Yeah,
Interesting.
at least the people on my rail, in the open space, open
Hmm.
office space, this one row that I'm in, all of us complained all the
Hmm.
time. So we all knew it, right? And I didn't think anyone would ever pay me more than what I was earning there, 70K a year. And I
Hmm.
make more than double that,
Yeah.
actually more than triple. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, looking back now, like, hey, just because your job's really nice and easy doesn't mean it's necessarily the best spot for you for your career. Because the
That
tech I was working with, jQuery, PHP, MySQL, uh, Laravel, all these languages, this technology or libraries that aren't as in demand as they used to be. So you better hop on React.js and Node.js to get a job out there in the field, right? The more popular technology, and so we were
yeah.
working in technology that was just slowly fading away. I mean,
Yeah.
PHP is always going to be needed for a while now, but kind of got to move on from that if you want to become valuable as a developer.
It's so interesting though, because you said you were unhappy, but you would be willing to stay there for 5 years.
I
There
just
must have been a
didn't.
mental shift somewhere along your career journey that said like, if I'm unhappy, I know I need to leave
Yeah,
sooner
well,
than later.
I wasn't happy, but I didn't think I was skilled enough. I didn't think that anyone would value me enough to pay me more.
I see.
My last job, I asked for 130K and I got paid 183.
Yeah.
They're like, how much you want to make? Oh, 130 sounds good. No, no, ask for more. Huh? Okay. 180, 180. All right, 160K base, right? And then stocks and bonuses above that. But yeah, so like, I was shocked. I thought I was worth 100, maybe I'll be worth 130 and I got paid more than that. And so after being working for a big company like the one I'm working at now, I realized
Mhm.
it is you who determines how people value you. I don't care. I've said this many times that it's you who determine that, but it
Mhm.
really is. It really is you. If you want to
Yeah.
be valued as someone who makes 200K a year, then make that happen somehow.
Yeah.
Do something about it, right? Not that that's what it's all about, but it's nice being paid that much. It's nice
It's
making that money.
it's a level of respect, right? A level of respect
Yeah.
on your skills as a developer, your skills as a developer advocate.
Mhm.
If you know that you're doing pretty high level work and it's super technical, but you're getting paid like a mid to junior level developer salary, then why are
Yeah.
you there, right? So
Yeah.
that's a really good point. And maybe in some regards, you should you know when to leave a company when you don't feel like you're valued, not just in a pure like developer perspective, but also from a financial perspective as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I
Yeah,
mean, I'll tell you this: the people who worked at my first company are still there. The developers
yeah,
that left when I left them are still there,
yeah,
and one of them they are having a hard time getting a job. They were looking for jobs before I looked for this new job I just got, and they still can't find a job. But it's
yeah.
because they were stuck doing PHP, Laravel, and jQuery for the last 5 years, right? That's their experience, and
Yeah,
you kind of need more than that
right. We're
to get
gonna
a job
clip
today.
this, and then we're just gonna say Chris Sean hates PHP jQuery.
Yo, yo, whoa, whoa, whoa,
That's
wait,
gonna be a
all right, all
hot
right.
take. I'm putting that on my YouTube channel right there.
If you were to ask what my favorite JavaScript library or framework is, it's jQuery because it's the first one I learned. I love jQuery, but it's just not hot today. Okay, I mean, hey, this is facts. Okay, is Amazon looking for jQuery developers? No, they're looking for React developers, at least in front end development, right? So or
They're looking
Node.js.
for software developers.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Boom! I'm kidding now. Just not.
Freaking
There's
Amazon
those
jerk.
people. They're gonna be like very anal about those. Like, oh, is it an engineer? Are you a developer? I was like, dude, who cares, man? Just let
Doesn't
me do my
matter.
job and get me
Yeah,
paid.
doesn't matter. Yeah, those small things don't matter.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
That's
So
a,
how long you be? Oh, sorry. We're gonna say.
sorry. Go ahead.
How long? Okay, let me ask. This is your fault, not mine. Okay. So, how long do you plan on staying at Amazon for?
As long as I can, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No, I
Amazon's like the
actually,
top of the
I
pile. Like they're
yeah,
top of the pyramid,
yeah. I mean, top of the pyramid. I guess
food
so.
chain.
The food chain. I don't know. I actually really enjoy working there right now because I'm learning so much. But
Yeah.
maybe if I hit a point where I don't learn anymore, maybe it's time to move on. I
Uh,
think that's a
so
pretty
you're
good.
gonna stay there forever.
No, we'll see, man. Actually, there are some DevRels at Amazon too, so maybe that's something I could do in the future. As
Mm,
I know we know some YouTubers that are out there that are doing DevRel for Amazon, so that'll be kind of interesting as well. But I don't know. I just personally love building stuff and learning, and I know you've
yeah,
been trying to get me into DevRel and whatnot, but it's
I don't know what
really
you're talking
hard.
about.
There's this
It is
creativity side
hard.
of me that wants to do it, but then there's this
Hmm.
engineering side of me that's like loves building as well. And so I don't know, dude. I think people underrate how much effort is required to be a DevRel. Like doing,
It's
imagine
more.
just
It's so much effort. Like you have to
yeah,
understand. Today on on-site meeting, all we did this whole day was plan for the future. Plan on how to create content, what to
hmm
talk about when we go to conferences. Like we got
hmm
to work 17-hour days at these conferences. It is so much harder than people realize. And software engineers do make fun of DevRel engineers. They're not real software engineers. That's what they say all the time. But our job is really hard.
yeah. Do you think that you have to be extroverted to be a DevRel?
Oh, okay. So I'm introverted as they get, right?
Okay.
So when I hang out with all my coworkers, I feel exhausted.
hmm
Like when I get home, I'm like, gosh, why do we hang out till 12 a.m.? I don't understand the point. That's me, right? But at the same time, if I was to lead that team, I'll be like, yeah, we need to hang out till 3 a.m. because we need to bond like crazy, right? So I'm an introvert, but and I think that's what surprised my boss when he hired me because when I'm on camera, I can talk forever. I'm happy as hell. But when we hang out in person when they're drinking, I don't even drink. I'm just here drinking water and being quiet, sticking to
hmm
myself. So I do think you need to be extroverted, but not as much as people realize,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I just think that a part of me feels like you have to be semi extroverted. Maybe once more conferences start opening up, that's when you have to start interacting with other developers. But
Yeah.
even streaming, dude, I've done some 1 hour, 2 hour live streams, and
It's
after
not
I
easy,
do
huh?
it, it feels like I just went through like a long workout, just answering a
Are
bunch of
you introverted?
questions. I think I am more extroverted, but even then, I'm still tired. I feel I feel like I became more introverted though
Yeah.
after this whole like shenanigans.
Yeah, you know what? I was very extroverted and then the pandemic came and I don't enjoy being around people as much as I used to.
hmm
I know that sounds weird and that probably sounds bad for me as a DevRel engineer, but it's not I don't get as excited anymore because I got so
Yeah,
used for the last 2 years just staying in my room doing whatever I need to do. So
yeah,
I feel like I became more introverted because of the pandemic,
yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure. So, I mean, before we end, I do have one more question. Now that you are joining this new company, like, what are you excited about?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's a team of, well, technically, excluding the head of DevRel, three
hmm
people. Right? One junior developer advocate, one senior developer, then myself, the other senior developer. But
Woo!
aside from that, titles don't matter, right? But aside from that,
Titles don't matter.
uh,
Tell that to the junior developer advocate.
oh gosh. But aside from that, I'm just more excited to build a team from scratch because I
hmm
joined a team where there was a 10 team of 10 people already. Now it's a team of three, and I get to head the content of YouTube and streaming. And I know I'm the master, not the master, but I'm really good at that. So I'm really excited to show them that I can do it really well, and maybe become the head of DevRel when my boss gets promoted in the future. You know, just saying, just saying. I'm
He
excited.
watches these. Does he watch any of these interviews?
He doesn't know about them yet. Yeah, I'm gonna try to
I'm
convince
kidding.
him in a way to allow me to like do podcasts like this that are not related to that company during
Whoa,
conferences.
bro,
So
you're gonna
hopefully
already
more.
move on to a dedicated podcast for your company and just leave the Chris and Alex show already?
Nah, nah. This is here for a long time. We got to keep the Asian dudes together. Gotta keep the Asian
Yes,
dudes together.
yes, for sure. And we need to have more guests, but I mean, it's only the second
Yes.
episode, so but
It's only second episode.
I already have a queue of people that want to join, so that's a really good sign. And
For
I
sure.
think
And
it'll be
I'm
really
out of
fun.
town too, so in different time zones, but we'll make it work.
That's
We'll
all
make
it takes, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is a good one. This is a good episode.
Yeah. What do we talk about?
Wow. I don't know. We talked about.
Are we doing a
when it's time to
recap?
leave tech. Yeah, so we talked today about when it's time to leave tech. When you feel like it's time to leave a tech job.
Mhm.
You know, one of the signs for me was just I just wasn't happy to wake up in the morning
Mhm.
anymore. You just realized that you were too good for your position, so you moved on to Amazon, and now you're not even good enough for your position, right? So
I'll be the head of
just joking.
DevRel at your new company
Oh!
with zero experience.
Oh, you'll be my boss. Oh
I'll be your-
gosh.
No,
Oh.
actually, one of the reasons why I never want to be a DevRel with you is I'll get demoted to a junior developer.
Oh gosh.
You're gonna be
Did
my
I tell
boss.
Did I tell you my boss is gonna let me quit on camera? I told you that. All right. I think
Yeah,
I
you
told
did. You
that
did
already.
tell me that.
Yeah, so we're gonna film it up maybe on Friday that I'm quitting my job on camera. So
That's
pretty
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. A million views right there.
Maybe that's
for sure.
maybe that's more content and exposure for their company. You know, like, hey, look how cool it is, and cool we are to let Chris just leave on camera.
Yeah, I'm excited. Fine with me. That bill's gonna make me like $1,000, so I'm fine. But
Content is
yeah,
content.
No, content is king. Yeah, this is a good one though. This is really fun. All right,
This was
so
fun.
we gotta get more people on here. But other than that, yo, this is a good one, dude.
Yes, sir. All right, you want to do some like closing? And this is the end of the Chris and Alex show.
No, I'm good.
All right, cool. We'll cut that off then.
I'm keeping that in, dude. We're keeping that in.
This is how you know this is like a very rough episode of episode 2, but it is what
There's
it
no
is.
way to end it. But all right, thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.